far.
Are they going to play Roots every year for Juneteenth like they do It's a Wonderful Life for Christmas?
But we did want to take an opportunity to just talk a bit more on Juneteenth. And the reason why I wanted to make sure we talked about it just a bit was just that I think that because of the way that things were handled with Juneteenth, just as we were growing up, especially as, Negroes in Texas, they didn't really talk about Juneteenth ever.
We did. They didn't. I went to many a picnic and barbecue. Like, it was always a holiday for us.
No, I meant, let me rephrase that. Schools didn't talk about Juneteenth ever.
No.
It's never in the history books.
Nothing.
Absolutely
no part
not.
of it was. I thought it was something that we just came up with ourselves when I was younger until I found out the history of it. And I'm like, well, that's really fucked up. Why the hell aren't they teaching this? And yeah, because that's a big deal.
So if you have any questions on what Juneteenth is, or, I mean, honestly, if you're somebody who didn't have the opportunity to learn properly what it's about, Juneteenth is really commemorating the freedom of slaves in the United States. It's Emancipation Day, plain and simple. And it's crazy. It's really insane that it took this long.
Is it though? Is it really though?
To make it a holiday?
To make it not even a holiday. Just to give it the recognition that it deserves.
Acknowledge that it exists at all, yeah. It's bizarre as fuck.
No, it's
one of those things. It's really not because we know why, but it's the thing that we're like, it was one of those common things, especially after learning the history of it, to where I'm like, this should be like a national holiday, you'd think. It's a pretty big deal. And of course, I thought it was almost more of just a Texas holiday, and then I discovered, oh no, black people everywhere, celebrate it. And I'm just like, okay, this is a big thing. It was like a secret to us almost. People are like, why are y'all celebrating?
Well,
is this a family reunion? No.
The holiday itself, the day is a secret to Negroes that was in Texas at the time. So yeah.
Your last ones to know.
Yeah. So.
And someone asked, is Juneteenth big in Texas?
Yes.
And I'm like, yeah. We're actually
LaGrange has parades every year. LaGrange.
I will give Texas, depending on where you're at, it is one of the bigger purveyors. Like Galveston, I know is really, really
Galveston's
big,
huge about it.
Right, with Juneteenth.
Well, that's where it was.
Austin's becoming hip to it. More and more.
They learned it 2 years
but
ago.
I mean, plain and simple, it's Black Independence Day.
Absolutely.
That's what it is.
It's the day we should be celebrating to high heaven and back.
I don't give a fuck about a 4th. It's not for me. I do love the festivities. They're fun.
Yeah, I was about to say, I fuck on 4th.
Stop it. But no, and yeah, you have some people in the chat, and first of all, Elijah, I can give you the 5 cents in my pocket for the imaginary check from those TikTok views. Shut up. But we have Nadia Domain 2021. Hey, thanks for your first time chat.
Yeah.
Who's like, I'm from California, never heard about Juneteenth. Shadow Shogun said, shit ain't a holiday in Ohio. At least my work doesn't recognize it. And then Lee Design Studio, grew up in Las Vegas. Never was educated about.
So West
Juneteenth.
Coast, not so. Well, I don't know about the East Coast even. I'm not familiar with them.
What's weird is and here's an interesting dynamic. And maybe I'm off kilter here. Right. When you think about New York, you think about some East Coast because of the way that it was the focal point of colonization.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of diversity natively entrenched in a lot of those, like when you think of New York, when you think of New Jersey, when you think of those areas where people are coming into, there's a lot of like native history, a lot of different culture pools that are just inherently there. I don't think that's the same on the West Coast, even though they're more progressive.
Yeah.
In which case it's created this propensity where you might run into those cases where Juneteenth isn't as important. And even though it's big here, we were not told and really educated about it ever.
Just went to the festivity.
And the fact that it took this long, year of 2020, where we were genuinely having to fight for our lives and fight for representation and fight for respect of African Americans for Juneteenth to being actually considered is straight up bullshit. Plain and simple.
It was a here you go. We're not going to fix this problem, but you can have Juneteenth as a national holiday. You can stay home. It was a kind of a backhanded type of deal. I felt. Well, I am happy it's recognized now as a national holiday. People who never knew it existed knows it exists, but like still it's just like you could have done this. You could have done this a long time ago.
It feels more. I don't know what the word to use, but when private organizations or private companies or companies in generally that don't recognize Juneteenth have never done that before specifically, and now they're like forced to actually recognize, hey, Juneteenth is now a holiday. Your employees, that is the reason why I actually brought the topic up, is because I think that nowadays these companies that never recognized Juneteenth before are now doing it just to shield for our attention.
I think it does have some layers of, plain and simple marketing with it as well, right? Hey, we're a company who lets you off on Juneteenth. Right. It's one of our days. And I do this as a double-edged sword, right? Mm-hmm. Do I think that this should have, let's be real, the holidays always, the day's always been there. It's just not been acknowledged.
Absolutely.
And, hey, we just really, really and truly got MLK Day, the proper level of respect. Right?
All except Arizona.
Fuck
you, Arizona, for that. Forever, by the way. They don't celebrate MLK Day in Arizona.
And I'm like, look, all right. I know some of these holidays take time to get the proper outlook that they do.
Absolutely.
And I think that there's a couple of layers here when it comes to Juneteenth that honestly haven't been recognized, because it's cool that people get a day off. But it should be a day of education for those who aren't aware of what Juneteenth is, what the meaning what the meaning behind it is. And shoot, I can have a day off. But most of y'all should be learning.
You know what I feel like it should be? It's technically a new holiday, so we can come up with shit for it. It's still fresh. So I say every year you have to learn. You have to learn some history. And then when you get to a certain part where you know the meaning of it, know what it's about, then you can parlay. Then you can barbecue and party and have all the fun festivities. Then you can have red velvet cake. Until then, yeah.
I think it's more so, it's more than just a day. We have to start entrenching this in the history and revamping our school curriculums that we do have nowadays, specifically that just only focus on, we got MLK, we got the assassination.
They want to take that shit away.
But even that specifically, we should start implementing that into our history, whether it just be not to be limited to just a day. To me, specifically, you have to revamp the whole entire school curriculum to implement that. So I think that, I agree with what TJ is saying, is that it's more than just a day. For me, it's about learning about the history, specifically of why Juneteenth is so important for Black people in general.
I'll be honest.
I'm saying. You got to earn that.
Yeah.
I'll be honest.
Are they going to play Roots every year for Juneteenth like they do It's a Wonderful Life for Christmas?
Stop that. Stop.
I'm not the one doing it.
Tommy.
Look, hey, I'm not Walmart coming out with goddamn red velvet
That's
ice
the reason
cream.
why I wanted to fucking talk about that bullshit.
You know ABC would do some shit that, though.
But look. They don't have to play Roots. We got a Charlie Brown in the Juneteenth special. We talked about this. Come on.
I really want that now.
And Charlie Brown ends up eating red velvet.
Starring Franklin. Don't give a fuck about Charlie Brown. Franklin and Snoopy, that's it. And Woodstock, he's there.
The only time Franklin is in the highlight, he being like, hey, yo.
Hey. Right, I'm in the background.
No. Let me talk.
Right.
Yeah, he shuts everyone down. Let me get this. This is my adventure today.
On Juneteenth, everybody got to play Color Purple.
And for some reason, it turns to an episode of Atlanta.
Charlie Brown, I'm the brown one here. Get the fuck out. That's how it has to be.
Trying to name the Charlie White.
But no, but what we're seeing with Juneteenth, and while we're happy it's being celebrated,
right?
I don't get it twisted. Do not take what I'm going to say and what we may put.
Hey,
shit. The chill spot. Oh, Rakeen, excuse me. Rakeen 23. Thank you so much for another gift sub. The chill spot. You have a gifted sub, that means you have to show up for the rest of the month. That's how it works.
Yeah, that's what happens.
But check it. The actual, what I want to say is that don't take what we say as not being grateful that this has become a thing. But also, I shouldn't be thankful that this became a thing.
That's where I'm at too.
I shouldn't.
You're in a gray area.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too.
What it is.
I shouldn't be celebrating the fact that this very fundamental holiday, very fundamental day
I don't know
of history should be celebrated.
I don't think there's a fucking day in history that like this one that, I mean, come on, that's just written for a holiday. A whole group of people for the mistake you made in your country, mind you. But now they, rectified it a little too late, done. But to these people, they are free now. That's a big fucking deal to a group of people.
2 years, man.
Took 2 years. Rest of the country
2 years.
took us that's very Texas though, isn't it? That's such a fucking
You had to
Texas
have a
thing.
ship to come over and say, y'all niggas is free. What y'all doing still here picking cotton? You had to have somebody tell that.
Like,
that's
what the
crazy.
fuck? Yeah, that's the most insane fucking thing. But it's something you should learn about it. Like, yeah, this is how this country was built.
But then on the
Shit
flip
like
side,
this, yeah.
you have one of my biggest pet peeves. I've said it before. When companies like Walmart, when companies like, I think H-E-B did the same thing, right?
They got the Martin shirt.
They got the Martin shirt.
Yeah.
Are pressing too damn hard to get our attention, right? So Walmart has the red velvet cake ice cream. And then they also had like the cookies too on top of that. And then H-E-B had the shirts. I'm just thinking to myself, is this what this holiday has came down to? Because they don't do this with MLK. They don't do that. Because I don't see them doing that type of advertisement for MLK. So why are they doing this now for Juneteenth? Why is it so hard for them?
It's brand new.
But still.
It's colorful. It's festive.
But still, they do shit like this.
And they just learned black people have been celebrating it forever.
Right. But it's just like shit like this irritates me as to, like TJ saying, this shouldn't be a holiday. Or it should be a holiday, but why should be
why should I celebrate the fact that you now recognize it? Yeah.
That's the frustrating part for me.
Because you should have recognized it long ago.
And to me, and I'll be honest,
right.
There's a part of marketing that makes me pleased because, hey, look, it's in the same, someone I pointed out, they do this for, Joshman Forever, that's a different topic.
What is that?
We ain't touching that one with a 10-foot pole just yet. He said, it should be stated that the illegal slave trade continued on for another 100 years, and for the descendants of slaves, and the prison system still affects us today.
Absolutely.
Prison is a different conversation.
That is slavery.
That
shouldn't
prison
be illegal, but it is.
Hello?
We will talk about that. Don't you worry.
I call it loophole slavery, but yeah, go ahead.
When I think about these things, because I do like some marketing aspects of it, the fundamental thing always goes back to the fact that I do not mind if you market the things, but I do mind if it isn't intentionally teaching the history that also coincides with it.
True.
Yeah.
Do not because to me this Juneteenth ice cream is just generically black. That's a Kwanzaa ice cream. That could be whatever.
Right.
That's
They can recycle that damn box and put it for Kwanzaa.
Jamaican flair. Like whatever you want to do. Like there's a lot of it needs to be very articulated. And I also think that this should be an opportunity to where Walmart really could have had like, cool, we made sure to bring in black artists. We made sure to bring in like
limited edition packaging.
Like bring in a chef or somebody who designed this dessert to be African American, and we want to highlight that.
Yeah.
That's how you start to get. That's how you start to be able to do the marketing while also contributing to the community as well.
Absolutely.
I don't think the negativity comes inherently from just the marketing aspect. Yes, you know what? I think right now we are, as a culture, defining a lot of the variables that are in alignment to Juneteenth as well. Mm-hmm. And so there really isn't an inherent theme that coalesces and coincides with that other than, a lot of the colors, a lot of the history that's associated with it. I know that one thing that people are doing is like you eat a lot of red foods to represent the blood of individuals who are, blood of individuals who lost their lives and all the slaves. And that's one aspect that I really, I'm like, yeah, co-sign that. Yeah. But the marketing aspects are appreciated if it's intentional and is contributing to the overall communication and education of African Americans alongside other people, so that way we could start to genuinely understand this holiday. Look, eventually all holidays get proliferated out to where there are marketing ploys. That's why I fucking hate Christmas.
Whoa.
I do. I've never liked it.
Oh, no.
I didn't see. Keep going.
No, you were talking when you
Sorry. I was like, I didn't see this.
Oh no.
I wanna.
Oh no.
Hold up. I need to see all of because I saw a line of like Walmart Juneteenth items. It wasn't just the ice cream.
That's what I'm saying.
It's more than one.
Yeah.
Oh,
I didn't know it was a line.
I have to see all the
I
products.
only saw the ice cream.
I just saw the ice cream.
Oh no.
But I need to see all the products here.
Something got you.
I need to. There was bottles, and I was like, "Do they got Juneteenth vodka? Like, what are we doing? What we got here?
Exclusively at Walmart.
Yeah,
Juneteenth
moonshine. Like, what's happening? But essentially, oh, they got plates.
Is that
they got? It's freedom for me.
That's what I'm talking about.
It's let's go ahead and eat on the plates of when we're thinking about freedom at the cookout.
At the cookout.
But it's a bigger issue for me, right? Juneteenth is like Pride Month. How these companies cater to these particular moments, but then
every other day of the year,
yeah. You don't see them do that shit often, specifically, and that frustrates the fuck out of me. Like, I get what you're saying. I appreciate the marketing specifically, but it's just when companies actually overdo it with no effort. That's what fucking frustrates me.
Yeah.
And that was and see, that was my thing.
IKEA sitting there like, y'all clowning these motherfuckers. We had a full fucking menu for African Americans. We had fried chicken, watermelon, collard greens, mac and cheese, and pinto beans. These motherfuckers just got plates and ice cream.
See, it took till 2021, right, for Juneteenth to become a federal holiday,
right?
And not everybody still applies it. That's the worst part about it. It's a federal holiday. Not everybody goes along with it. But one person asked an interesting question, because I do want to highlight the marketing point. But one person did ask. I was like, okay, fine. One aspect I've been thinking about is, should Juneteenth just be off for Black people? And I'm gonna let y'all digest that first.
I mean, okay. I'm not gonna.
To be honest with you, I think that everybody should take that.
I do too,
because it's a history lesson to be taught.
Yeah, and but if it was just Black people, I wouldn't complain. Yeah, sure. But yeah, no, everyone should take it off. Because it's if you're off that day, it's like, oh, why am I off? You'll think about it at some point during that day, hopefully. Hopefully.
I just hope that it doesn't become a conversation of, why do only Black people get to take this holiday off?
That's like the question.
It's like the question of, so how come the N-word? The N-word is not is now a term of endearment. So why can't we say it's going to turn into that conversation?
He's not lying.
It's going to turn into that conversation if it's just us that have that day off.
No, I mean, and I'm right there with you. I think that the important part is giving everybody the day off, so long as it should be to where you can't even watch TV without something Juneteenth related popping up on your screen, just like on Christmas. You flip a channel. You just getting holiday shit.
There should be a song that we should title to, or there should be stick to Juneteenth, similar to how Mariah Carey's "All I Want for Christmas Is You" play on Christmas Day. There should be a song similar to that.
She makes a lot of money off that.
She wouldn't. Kendrick just dropped an album not too long. We can.
That could be
That could be the.
We could do that.
Mr. Morale and the Hot Steppers can absolutely be the album of Juneteenth.
I'm just saying.
He's gonna be the one that writes it. Right?
Drake might drop a beat. Who knows? But
he's from Canada. They were free already, right? I don't know
I don't know Canada's history.
I don't either. They got some demons too.
He got a dual citizenship. He's fine.
Houston, Atlanta, Vegas, right?
Apparently, Mississippi still has Confederate Memorial Day, so they still have a ways to go. But it's Mississippi. You chose that. What's up, people? We're not back to the main show. I got to do a little bit of highlighting because, thanks to all y'all guys' support. Thanks to everything you guys do for us. We are able to have a partnership with lovelymanscaped.com. And what I grabbed off screen, we have all our Manscaped stuff right here. So what I grabbed off screen was actually their shampoo and conditioner. They're 2-in-1. Smells great. They have a signature scent that goes around all their products. And with summertime right here really shining, trust me, I have the towel in my car to wipe the sweat down. You want to make sure that you're smelling good and that your grooming is on point. It's hot. It's moist. Make sure that you don't, add to that by being smelly. On top of that, our partnership with Manscaped does allow us to continue to, really rev up the show and handle a lot of things here to better amplify who we're talking to and communicate with y'all. Now, if the shampoo and conditioner ain't your flavor, I would actually also recommend the hydrating body spray, which is actually more like a lotion. It's really, really cool. Alongside the actual, Lawnmower 4.0, which we all have. We all use these products. Every single member of the show uses these products on a regular basis because we actually genuinely like them. And if you do want to check out more of what we have and more of, how you can actually get some of these products, I'm going to go ahead and pull up manscaped.com, where you'll be able to see the Performance Package 4.0, alongside some other goodies that you can have at any time. They always have free shipping, and you can always get 2 free gifts as well whenever you're shopping right now. So that's a great opportunity to capitalize on it. And they do have a Father's Day special coming up as well. And so if you want to make sure that you're copping something for Father's Day, if you want to make sure that you're copping something and supporting us as well, make sure that you guys go over to manscaped.com and use MEX20. Yes, that's manscaped.com. Use the code MEX20, and that'll make sure that we are able to continue to bring this show to y'all as best as we can. Now, I just realized I didn't have an ad up there. There's the ad. It should be showing right here if I'm according to that. We really do appreciate it. And of course, if y'all, have any questions on the products, feel free to let us know. We'll be happy to answer them or shoot it over to Manscaped. We genuinely will give you real life examples. If nothing else, to be honest, get the underwear. Please, for me. It's the most comfortable underwear you'll ever have. And I have the thickness, so it can handle all that and more. But I see you dying over there. We appreciate your support. We appreciate y'all. We'll be back to the show here in a bit. Remember, get Manscaped and your balls. Well, thank you. We'll get back into it here in a second. So, what I really want, is if you're marketing it, if you're going to put the money behind the marketing, include that part of your marketing is also going to be education. And so long as you're educating one more person about the importance of this holiday, that's what it always goes back to, because we really only because I'm gonna keep it $150. This requires we have so much legwork to do to bring Juneteenth to the status it needs to be.
Absolutely.
And we can't stop. We can't
be
stop.
At 4th of July status.
I think, but the thing that I worried the most with Juneteenth is Juneteenth is going to become another MLK Day.
This is kind of
just a day.
Yeah,
it's just a day at this particular point, and it's going to revert back to what it was. Right, it's just going to revert back to its initial status, which was nobody knew about this, but only a certain amount of people knew about it specifically. Or we're just taking this day off because it's just a day off that was given to us through the federal holiday, the federal approval. So that's what I fear about Juneteenth moving forward.
I think that there's a couple of things that come into layered with that particular argument. Mm-hmm. MLK Day is a little tricky because it's right before Black History Month. Mm-hmm. And so I think a lot of the times it kind of gets swept up of being like, cool, MLK Day, checked out. I'll see you here in a couple weeks.
It's kind of the face of Black History Month. Yeah.
I also think that, quite frankly, look, unless you've been living under a rock, you've heard a lot of the variables with MLK Day. And so I don't think that there isn't a layer of education that still needs to be applied. You need to be yelling it from the mountaintops. But I think that Juneteenth has so much hidden meanings, so many different layers that we haven't explored, and understanding the impact variables that come with that, to where the conversation, quite frankly, is limitless, at least hey, you feel tired of MLK Day, it took this long. I feel like Juneteenth has a lot of run room, and I think that there's a lot of areas that they can cover. And after that, bring it back to just making it a secondary Black History Day. So that's perfectly fine with me too.
That's cool. I don't know which way it's going to trend. I kind of feel like it's going to be more Jordan's way because this is where we are.
I mean, it's America.
That's what I'm saying.
No, it's not only America, but I think that it's just the newer generation of Black America won't feel as passionate about Juneteenth and the history behind Juneteenth as we are, specifically growing up. To me, I think that it's going to be less prevalent in the newer generation than it is now.
Well, that's kind of every generation. That's kind of how it goes. But I don't know. I think the next generation might, do what may need to be done. They like history apparently because they're not allowed to learn it anymore. But I don't know, man. I've known this holiday my entire life. Like I said, parades, the whole nine, and it's just always been a part of my life. So I know the significance of it. To me, it should be a holiday for this whole fucking country because everyone needs to reflect on it.
Yeah,
not just Black people,
and not just Texans.
Oh, definitely not just Texans. definitely not just Texans.
No,
everyone.
I mean. And it took me a while, but this was what I saw where it was like,
oh, God damn.
Boy.
Is that wine?
See, that's going too goddamn far.
Because I'm like, at least keep it on the red wine. Like, you ain't got to have the white wine
you
bottle
don't know
there.
the purpose of the holiday, clearly.
Like that's just marketing.
Yeah.
That's marketing for marketing's sake, and that does nothing for us.
Can I go on a small tangent, though? This is kind of bigger to me, because you know how in 2020, when you had all these companies investing into black organizations and so forth?
So they said, yeah.
Right. And one of the biggest questions I had was, I want to know 2 to 3 years from now where our people would be financially. Are we still talking about closing the wealth gap? Are we still talking about education among black men? Are we still, like,
who's talking about it? Just us, as far as I know.
No, I mean, but still, where will we be 3 years with all these big organizations donating money?
If they actually did it,
right?
Oh man, yeah.
But where are we going to be specifically? Are they actually investing these monies to where we're actually doing better?
Yeah, that's
the biggest question I have specifically. And I said that, and it seemed like we're still asking the same questions in 2022 after all these companies did all these major donations in 2020. That's the only bigger question that I actually have.
The thing is, they hope you forget about it. So
they wipe their hands with it and they say, we did what we need to do.
No, and see, this is why you also use Juneteenth as a reminder to re-engage on those uncomfortable conversations. I can be quite frank, that's what you have. Like, with the way that organizations operate, there's a lot of different demographics that they're usually trying to hire for. And then, of course, even if a company celebrates their DE&I initiatives, they oftentimes trend their African Americans towards either entry-level roles and or roles where you cannot be calculative and or technical, which means that this is a consistent conversation that you need to have. And Juneteenth offers a position where you're like, cool, this is like on my calendar. I always have a constant reminder that I need to engage on this. And it's going to require pushing. The work didn't stop just because it's a federal holiday. This is really comes into play.
That's what I was about to say. The same exact thing. It's like, don't let Juneteenth be the day that we need to remind you of this. This needs to be something that you need to talk about every single day that this company is open.
And I mean, and I want to make sure that like I don't take away from these things, right? Because ultimately, I do think it's a day of education, but it also is a day of celebration, right? Yeah. It is a day of acknowledgement that we went through all of this. There are so many of our ancestors, so many of our people, and people who have a long descendants history in America.
When you think, look, put it this way, and when you put it this way, it usually kind of people are like, oh shit, your grandparents' parents were slaves. Well, not you, but yeah, good job. True. Yeah, like my grandma's grandparents were slaves. It's not that far apart.
Mm-hmm. This isn't.
You know what I mean?
Like this is 18,
pretty close. She could tell me. They told her how slavery was, and she told us. That's how close that shit is.
Passed down from generation to generation.
That's what I'm saying. It is. So there you go. So yeah, it's something that's still. Yeah, it's been hundreds of years, 200. I don't know how many fucking years. It's about 100, 60, 70 years since we were freed. For us, tack on 2 years to that, and just like that wasn't that long ago in the grand scheme. And all the effects of that still linger in our lives every fucking day. So yes, please acknowledge slavery, which is these days hard as fuck to even get them to do that shit.
But I also think...
So it's just like, it needs to be blasted everywhere.
I also think that there are enough things and areas that we can acknowledge and talk about to help support and bolster the education that's happening on Juneteenth as well,
absolutely.
Right?
Sure.
When you think of, I was actually just making sure because I remember that it's around this time as well. Black Wall Street happened on
Tulsa,
like literally May 31st and June 1st.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you have some things that are. Hey, look, make Black history be the overarching history, and then let's make it let's make the run up to Juneteenth be this is what happens, and these are some of those
should be a day of itself too.
Historic notes.
Started on June 1st.
That should be a day of itself in this case here. Black Wall Street should be a day.
Or at least a fucking monument. Do they even have a monument? It's fucking Oklahoma, so probably not.
No, I think they do.
Okay.
I think they do. I have to look that up again.
Recreate the whole fucking city.
And
like if I had
we do.
What do you mean?
It's not in Oklahoma.
Like
replica.
Yeah.
I'm like,
an authentic replica.
You want to talk about
Black
Negro
Wall
City?
Street.
Go to DeSoto, Texas. I mean, that's like Negro City.
Is it really?
Yes.
Check it
out. Look, we are at the precipice of being able to communicate these variables and really set ourselves up for success as we continue down the line of celebrating and embracing African American culture. Right. With Tulsa, Black Wall Street happened exactly 100 years from last year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So this is a new century to make sure that this is imprinted on our youth.
Like we're going backwards.
We're going backwards to move forwards. And what I mean by that is we're going backwards in the sense of it took way too damn long for this shit to be acknowledged. Yeah. It took way too damn long for us to be able to acknowledge and start to really bring true African American history to light. But what I mean by us going forward is we can acknowledge the holdup, but we can't dwell on it. We can't Absolutely. Let that be continue to let us hold us up.
Can we address a little bit of an elephant in the room with this subject? Mm-hmm. You realize the mention of critical race theory makes these motherfuckers lose their mind.
Hell yeah.
So you want them to learn about the day they didn't tell us slavery ended.
But that's a bigger subject in itself, specifically because I think that both sides I think one side tends to not understand specifically what critical race theory actually is.
They have no clue what it is.
But I think that the other side tends to gather or loop everything underneath critical race theory. I'm like, slavery is not critical race theory.
No, it's history.
It is history.
It's literal history.
That's not critical race theory specifically. I mean, there's two different versions of it, critical race theory. But I'm just saying, I think there's a misunderstanding or how I think both sides tend not to understand what that theory means specifically to me.
Yeah. I just call it history and call it a fucking day because that's what it is.
I mean, critical race theory is prevalent.
It's its own thing.
I mean, it's its own thing.
But they're lumping everything into it.
But I mean,
it needs to be separated.
So this goes into a lot of different other variables, and this can be its own conversation.
Subject, yeah. Because we always lead off with shit that we want to talk about the next time we never do.
Brawny.
I think that most everybody can agree. Everybody with some sense can agree that it's very important. Do your due diligence to just open up the conversation as to, hey, this is what Juneteenth is. Here's why it exists. And here's what we can do to make sure we're making our African American brothers and sisters to feel as though they're supported and they're able to proliferate out the knowledge as well. What you should not do is come back here making some of these bottles right here. Don't do that.
I was about to say, don't go to Walmart and support us by buying that damn red velvet shit.
That's not supporting us at all.
Don't buy the plate. Put it on your door. Like a reef.
Or, I mean, at least keep it red wine. Buy the red one.
That's
support.
That's the real blasphemy of it all.
Like
the red is very important on the holiday.
We really do appreciate that. We're even able to have this space to talk about Juneteenth because we've gotten to a place to where it's actually being acknowledged. I'm not giving bonus point. I'm not giving even credit for shit that should have happened, but I can still be happy that it is happening, right? I can still be proud to see the efforts, at least with organizations and places and people who are in my circle are making to make sure Juneteenth is supported and fluidly.
And I think I can say this. I think we all share the same sentiment as do your due diligence and do the history or do the research to find out specifically why Juneteenth is important to us. I mean, you
should be important to everyone.
You can go to any. Don't.
What?
No.
Whoa! What?
Look.
I didn't catch.
We are not your tutors.
Oh yeah, no! Don't ask a black person anything. A matter of fact,
that's what I was gonna say. Don't go to us like your Urban Dictionary and try to ask us about specifically. Do your due diligence. That's the reason why there's an internet there.
We have Google. Go
Google it.
Like really I said, do your due diligence as African Americans and preach out where you can.
Right.
But don't unless you really a homie like that.
Yeah.
In which case, if I know you.
And you know who you are.
What does AAVE mean? What does booty do mean?
You come at me with some shit like that.
Don't be one of those friends, okay?
That's not a friend.
What's Emancipation Day?
Ooh.